Hey guys, Andrew Baxter here, and welcome along to one of the funnest tasks we get here at Australian Investment Education, which is choosing our annual Trader of the Year. In a few moments' time, I'm going to have the management team come in, and we have been inundated again this year with really strong nominations for our Trader of the Year, and we've been able to whittle it down to a short list of 10, and now our final 3. Now, I've got a question for you because this is what I'm going to pose to our team in a few moments' time. What is most important to you? Is it the number, the percentage, the dollars made, or is it the story behind it? And on financial services, everything focuses on percentages and dollars. And sometimes in that mix, we can miss out on the story that sits behind it, the objections and adversity that people have had to overcome in order to get themselves in a position of financial security. Hope you enjoy this. You're going to get a sneak peek behind the curtain while the team and I go through and discuss these nominees in detail, and I hope you enjoy what you see.
Okay, so guys, we're here to discuss our Trader of the Year nominees for 2024 calendar year. We started off with a short list of 10 out of all the nominations that we've had. I've been able to nail it down to just 3. So today I want to go through all of their nominations, not just the numbers, even though really they do speak for themselves, but also their stories in there as well.
The bottom line is that each one of those are a really, really strong entry in their own right, and it's a question of how we shortlist it.
What I like about them is each individual nom is different. Like I think, for example, Jason, when we spoke, he was a comeback king. So he and I, for context, we had a really tough conversation at one point where it was like, we need to reverse the strategy, reverse engineer it and get you back on track. 4 days later, I think it was, to his credit, super accountable, we spoke, we got him back on track. 25% return, 200 grand banked. It's a pretty solid nomination.
Look, it is, and I mean, it doesn't matter which one of the lenses you look through because, yeah, it's not just about the numbers when we look at Trader of the Year. It's also the story that sits behind it. And I think, the mental fortitude in a comeback story for me is something I think means an awful lot because that mental hardness of not giving up and more importantly, leaning on the team, has been the game changer for him. So, I mean, it's got to be up there as one of our nominations for sure.
And Tony was the same. Tony's also trading in his super fund. And, Gillian, we've had, lots of contact with Tony since he joined us back in 2020. And for him to, be in his 60s, a builder by trade, and then now using artificial intelligence, as you can see here in his nomination, is just crazy to see how much money he's made.
Yeah, that persistence and determination has been amazing to see his evolution as a client. So
there's a guy that's banked 44% profit for the year. Yeah, it's really topped up his retirement nest egg nicely, and he's doing it part-time and he's doing it on his terms, which is absolutely fantastic evolution. What are your thoughts on Stuart and Jill? I mean, you've obviously lobbied pretty hard for them.
Oh, absolutely. I think people like that, they obviously deserve a good quality retirement. That seems to be the main motivation. And, it was all about giving themselves that control and peace of mind and being able to really set themselves up well, which has been really interesting to see.
And they're backing up too. I mean, they were our winners last year, and so many people think, you might have had a good year as an investor, but it just seems to be year after year after year of great consistent profit from them, which shows the process they've built is there. But I love the lifestyle, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you talk to anybody of any age, what do you want to do? And it's like, I'd love to travel, but I want passive income. And they're ticking it off. I think they did 19 countries or something, this year in terms of their travel and consistently managed to make great income.
But I think the other important thing with those guys is that they're doing it together.
Yeah,
they're retired, they've got the time, they're traveling, but really, doing the way that they're doing it is not taking them a long time during their day. It's like it's 10, 12 minutes in the morning while they're having their breakfast and a coffee, working out what their trades are going to be, and Stuart handing the book to his wife to put the trades in the market. So what a great team effort to be able to do it.
But you look at the dollar benefit of that. So that was when we had the volatility at the start of this year. They made $205,000 profit in one day. I think the Starlink was a good investment for them, that's for sure. 100%. And and what a great retirement to be able to do that, which is a significant income by anyone's mark. What did they bank for the year? I think it's like $432,000 of profit for the year.
Yeah, $432,000 banked profit, which is about 17% return. You compare that to super funds across the board. So the average super fund in 2024 produced about 11.5%. So by any stretch, 17% for Stuart and Jill Garrett, Tony Pinnell 46%, Jason Wong at 25%. They've all exceeded that of industry standards.
Yeah, I've spoken to Tony a few times, and sort of every time you speak to him, it was in the beginning a bit more frustration and couldn't quite get it and never quite getting there, but it was that persistence and constantly and reaching out to Mitch and trying to work on it, and it's worked. He's got there.
And I think when you're learning something new, it can be a little bit fuzzy. It can be a little bit hazy. But that's a good thing. That means you're learning something, right? I mean, and through the haze, through the fuzziness comes the clarity. And the clarity is where the good things start to happen.
Yeah, and it's that persistence of keep trying to get through that hazy bit just to reach that point.
Kelly, you spoke to Jason when he came on board, developer by trade, into the stock market now. How have you found his transition?
He was a really interesting nomination to read because one thing he really spoke about was his emotions, that he spent a lot of time being concerned, worried, fear. Every time something went wrong, he would panic. And it was a real journey for him to learn how to get consistent, build his confidence, and, step out of that fear and follow a process.
On the back of that, one of the things that he did, for his family on the back of the journey he'd been through.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah.
Like that speaks volumes. And I guess, as a parent, as most of us are,
Yeah.
When you see someone sort of working hard in a lane and then sharing the benefit of that with their family, 5 weeks in Europe with his wife and kids on the back of, a slice of the percentage he made last year. For him, I don't think it was about the money. I think it was for being able to provide and show his family what he was doing too, which is a terrific reinforcement.
But the other thing I really like about all three of these nominations is they're all normal people. They're everyday people. Nobody's come in with multimillionaire and, got a whole big story to go with beforehand. These are all normal people that are working hard, that are putting time and effort and dedication into learning a new skill.
Yeah, Jason's a big one on referrals. Stuart and Jill, they're great to deal with as well. Easy to speak to, but Jason Wong hands a lot of referrals over to us.
I guess success breeds success at the end of the day. When you're making money, you want to share it with people around you. Well, do you know something? I think one thing they've all got in common is they're open to being taught. A lot of people are quite closed, and you get to an age, and in particular, two of them are in an older demographic. Yet they're not set in their ways. They're open to being coached, and they're open to being mentored, and perhaps most importantly, they follow advice when they're given it and apply it. So there's no ego on the part of any of these people. They're really, really humble people that are just quietly, they were quietly going about it before this video, that's for sure, going about working towards a better financial future, and now they're reaping the rewards of it. So the key thing is, coaching and mentoring is important, but applying that and not having an ego that gets in the way. You've got to be open. Money only flows to people that are open and teachable, right?
What are you noticing in the market out there as a general trend?
Look, I think seeing how these clients have performed and adding that another layer of strategy to your standard stock portfolio, and it's just shown and proven the results speak for themselves. Providing that protection, whether it's, whether it's going up or down or sideways. And, I think how these three have carried themselves in times of downturn and, persevered through. Perhaps, they haven't done things the right way, but they've learnt from those mistakes and errors and persevered along the way. So it's really great to see and how they've used the education and what they've learnt so far and, applied it to themselves, really.
We've had a mountain of these things to sift through, which is great to see from people across all walks of life, all parts of the country, all age demographics, all educational cultures, both genders. It's been a crazy, crazy pathway, and I thought we did pretty well to get it down to a short list of 10, and now we're sort of focusing in on these guys. It's really interesting, and I reckon, we're on the right path. These three very, very strong stories. The results are strong, both in absolute and relative terms. And and it's just great to see people creating their own future by taking control. So, all right, well, let's get to work and drop anchor and work out who it's going to be.
To be honest, I'm at a crossroad. I really don't know. I don't think I could pick out of all these three.
I love that story, but then the others are so strong too.
I think we're going to have to chat to all of them.
There's a human story behind all of this, and I think sometimes if you just go out on the percentage returns basis, people go, "Oh, it was luck," or "It was hardly luck when you're doing it year after year after year." Let's be clear on that. But it's not just the coldness of a percentage or dollar return. It's actually the human story behind it. And when you look at the pathway that all of these guys have been on and the challenges that they've had to overcome, and they did overcome and continue to, then it's the human interest story for me, which I almost weigh more so than just simply the percentage returns in dollars. So I think that's sound counsel. Right, let's get to work and let's chat with these guys.